Yes.
So you guys can reconnect. I got the stream up again. Everything should be good. Guess this stream will have a part 2. So far I only have Johoff and Isolde having refreshed. Oh, there we got Vosmer. Cool. So did you guys decide what you wanted to do? You guys just want to like move on to the, fast forward to the party? You have things you need to do first?
Marcus is entirely in Johoff's hands.
Yeah, so maybe we make it that this is like the afternoon. You guys came here, and Marcus and Johoff are going to go on a bender or whatever they're going to do, and the rest of the group is going to go to the Leventhorpe estate. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, activating Leventhorpe estate. Okay, so once again we have a situation where I have to put all your tokens on here because so you guys can see. But basically, Johoff and DeMarcus are assumed not to be there. As you approach, you see a number of guards who, when they see you, like stand aside and let you in. They kind of like nod at you knowingly. You guys are pretty well renowned at this point as being, members of the guild, but also as kind of local heroes of Mossstone. And you come into this nice kind of cobblestone courtyard that is the entryway to the Leventhorpe estate. And you guys can walk around and mingle.
Oh no. Mingling.
Yeah. So,
Mistle is filled with dread and anxiety.
So, Big Pete beat you here. Oh, do you have something, Tern?
Oh, I just joked that this is the awkward small talk part of D&D.
Yeah. So now that most of you are in the courtyard, Big Pete beat you there, and he's already, like, got a big plate, like, over full of appetizers, and you guys can kind of, I don't know, those of you who can see in there, I don't know, yeah, can see that Gorok and Ander are sitting at a table and just, like, gorging themselves with fancy food. And, there's a pretty big crowd. You see Guard Captain Damien. Miliardo is kind of in the corner talking with Titus Rosethorn as a Norseman approaches and begins, like exchanging pleasantries with Miliardo as well. And there are some other familiar faces. You guys see Master Welby and Bradson playing like a duet in the corner. This nice evening music, and Anna and Evander are here, Galen, and 2 members from Dragon Squad, or I guess 3. Tetherman is in the corner, kind of touting his new staff and his title as Archdruid of Mossstone. And yeah, what do you want to do?
Is that a lute player by Welby down there?
Sure. Whatever instrument you want it to be. Well,
Call
you
it
can play it.
It's
So,
the same guy.
he must get a lot of gigs around here. He's the real deal. Missile's gonna he's gonna reach into his bag of holding and pull out that elaborate tankard and fill it with some ale here at the table by Big Pete. And Mortimer's gonna hear the lutist playing and kind of scatter off down there to get a front row seat. And Missile, seeing Mortimer start running away, is gonna go by Mortimer there and kind of puzzle as he looks at the lutist make those strange noises from that instrument.
And you can see Titus Rosethorn like notice the mechanical spider, and he turns to you and he says, "Is this your mechanical spider?"
Yes, sir, it is.
Marvelous construction.
Oh, I'm so delighted that you think so. What do you like most about him?
Well, he seems to have many legs, and that seems useful in walking.
Oh, yes, quite useful. Can you think of any improvements that he needs?
I wouldn't know where to begin.
Missile kind of looks up and pulls out a notebook and feverishly scribbles down whatever information he's gleaned from that, and looks up irritatingly at Bradson as he plays that awful noise that he just can't understand.
And Bradson gives you this, like, confused look, like, what do you want me to do? I'm playing a gig, bro.
Mortimer dances quite well, though. Quite happily.
What is Isolde doing?
To Milliardo. I'll wait because I don't want to interrupt his conversation with the Norseman. But I do want to go and speak with him.
You kind of wait until there's like a gap in the conversation, and the Norseman kind of like heartily claps Milliardo on the shoulder, and like they laugh and they depart, and Milliardo's a little bit stunned by how hard he was hit, but he kind of looks up to you and is very bright. He's got, despite his marvelous picture there, he's got some cuts across his face and body that look like they're still healing. And he says, Isolde, it is wonderful to see you.
And you as well. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes. Did you get the paper birds?
I did. Thank you so much for remembering.
Of course. I never forget.
It's nice to see you in good health. Looking much better than I've seen you for the last week or so.
Indeed, yes. One of the first things I'm doing as Duke of this city is upgrading the jail situation. No
Yes.
human being should be put through such perils when it's not even clear that they're guilty.
Agreed. Just to be clear, at this point I have heard rumors about how he escaped
Yes.
and all that.
It's kind of the talk of the town.
I've heard of what happened at the jail, by the way. I'm sorry for the cuts on your face, but it sounds like you put up quite the fight and quite the escape.
I didn't do much. I mostly just ran, but well, the guild did most of the fighting, but I appreciate that, yes.
'Tis humble of you to say. You know how, when things are spread around town, people sensationalize. There's quite a
suppose.
number of stories in which you are the hero.
Yes, well, soon enough it'll be, the case that Duke Milliardo slayed the Skull Lord by himself in single combat.
Sure.
Well, there are plenty of people for you to speak to here. I'm sure you know more people than I do.
Yes, it's quite the collection of individuals, and I will make my rounds and say hello, so thank you very much for your hospitality.
Of course, if you need anything from me, do not hesitate to ask.
Of course. Thank you. And I'll go get some food and stuff.
Okay, what is Taryn doing?
I think Taryn would go to where Woman is and kind of like join into that conversation, but he's a little overwhelmed because he's never been to like a party like this before, so he's just gonna like attach himself to someone he knows.
And who's he attaching himself to?
Evander.
Oh, Evander. Got it. Yeah, he's down there to the south. Yeah, you see Evander kind of standing around. he has like a book in his pocket, and he like every once in a while like holds it up to read it, and Anna kind of like slaps his hand like, yeah, be present, like stop reading your book. And he looks up and says, "Oh, hello, Taryn.
Hello, Master Evander.
It's a lovely party."
Yeah, there's a lot of important people here.
And Lyra just goes, "Ugh," and Anna kind of looks at all of you and just says like, "Fucking spellcasters," and just like walks away.
Nice. Karen's confused by this whole interaction.
Yeah. It's mostly Lyra and Evander feel like they're obligated to be there, but are not enjoying it.
Yeah. Right. After a while, then, if like it's just like word tension, he'll go find somebody else to talk to.
Okay. Do you want to do more with that, or do you want me to skip to somebody else?
He'll probably just go over to Wagner and just not like interject himself into what's going on, but just kind of like slide into that conversation, whatever he's doing.
Okay. What's Vosner doing?
Vosner is just hanging out with the other druids.
Got it.
Just kind of making small talk. He'll ask why or how they're doing. Yeah, he doesn't know what to do. He probably will ask, "Do you guys get invited to these things quite often?"
Tetherman laughs. Says, "No, but I imagine this kind of thing will be the norm now for me. Unfortunately."
Was your father always invited to things like this in the city?
At one point, the Archdruid of Mossstone was a very important political figure. And then, well, in the last 15 years, that relationship eroded. But, Duke Miliardo believes that a good relationship between the city council, or I guess him, and the druids is imperative, and I agree with it. So I will continue to attend these meetings, and he will continue to listen to my counsel on things concerning the Wheeldeath.
That sounds noble. Vosner is obviously looking for a word, but that's about as all as he can get for that.
Yes, well, here's to hoping that this relationship continues on the current path it's on.
Yeah, definitely. But that's all Vosner has. He's just
Okay.
trying to find something edible and bide the time.
Okay, does Damon still have that rockin' stash?
Yeah, he definitely does, and he's about to walk over next to Missile, so that he'll be right next to Miliardo.
Got it.
So he's gonna walk up because he actually wants to talk to Missile about Mortimer, but he would like say hello to Miliardo first. So I don't know. He would just say like, Duke Leventhorpe, I am glad you have kept your health.
Now this is a question. It's a little bit meta. I know Damon has met Miliardo before, but is Damon in a recognizable form that Miliardo has seen before?
No, because I believe the last time Miliardo saw Damon and knew him as Damon would have been his like
Yeah, clone.
doppelganger form.
Got it. Okay, so Duke Miliardo says, yes, welcome to my party. Are you another member of Bear Squad?
Yes, Duke Leventhorpe. I am Damon. We met on your vessel. And then I
Oh,
would realize, right, I have this weird mustache and I'm in a different form. And maybe would take the hood down briefly.
and then he would kind of gasp a little bit. Oh, yes, of course, Damon, I forgot. What a marvelous mustache. Welcome to the party. Do you eat things? If you do, you're welcome to anything, but, I suppose I'm not entirely sure what to offer you.
I appreciate the hospitality. The company and good feelings are enough.
Very well.
And then I would turn to Missile and say, are you enjoying the music, Master Missile?
He would scowl and say, "No, but Mortimer likes it."
I find this curious. How is it that Mortimer, a creature of your construction, appreciates music, and you do not?
He would kind of rub his chin, puzzled, and go, "Well, nothing I make is perfect. Most of it is simply good enough. And I suppose this is an undesirable byproduct of his construction."
I see. I simply mean, where does it come from? How does Mortimer have this appreciation when you could not give it to him?
Well, Mortimer's behavior is a product of patterns that I've put together from the materials of his construction. And he behaves according to those patterns and in predictable ways. And, well, they're very complex, these patterns, and not always, let's say they open certain pathways to behavior that I hadn't accounted for. And when Mortimer hears sounds in the air and finds a rhythm, he tends to match those sounds in the air and bobs accordingly and spins around as he does. And so I'm not sure that he appreciates it as much as it is that he simply responds to the environment in a way I hadn't planned for.
Fascinating. Are you saying that Mortimer, in some sense, has emotional responses to external stimuli?
Well, we might call them emotional, but I'm not sure where in Mortimer's construction there would be room for emotions, which is why I'm quite puzzled by you, Damon. You're quite unlike Mortimer in that respect.
I see. I had hoped perhaps you might shed some light on some things for me. And then he'll kind of go quiet for a minute.
Missile would be oblivious and say, "Well, that's unfortunate, because I had hoped you would shine some light on some issues for myself. But perhaps if we spend some time together, we can both inform one another."
I suppose a dinner party is not the perfect situation for a conversation such as this.
Certainly not with this awful sound.
Damon will kind of chuckle at that.
Bradson just looks up like, I can fucking hear you, man.
Did Damon just chuckle?
No, that was me.
No, Damon would have chuckled lightly at you.
Can I get a kind of enactment of what that might sound like, Leif? I really want it.
I think it would kind of just be a low, pulsing hum,
Excellent, thank you.
maybe with very minute vibrations of his chassis, if you were paying attention.
I love it.
Vosner sees the person next to Taryn and is curious. Sheila? Have we met her before?
Oh, no. So she matches the description that Miliardo gave of a woman who was his gardener. You were to there was one way in which you could have solved part of Miliardo's situation by meeting with her and actually breaking into this place, but you guys opted not to go that route. So that's why she's named, but she's his gardener.
I guess through small talk, Vosner talks to her about gardening.
Yeah, she's got a whole, like, if you actually look around, like, this place is, it's kind of like one of those Zen gardens, like, I don't know, it's like those Japanese gardens where there's, like, a lot of stuff living very close together in, like, a very well-manicured way. Is manicured the right way? It's, like, well-tended, miniature garden kind of thing, and she's basically curated it, the whole thing.
Karen's conversation too.
I think I heard you say Terran's in the
Small talk about
conversation.
gardening and like relating
Oh.
it back to growing up on a farm and whatever. So yeah, like, standing there, but I don't RP it or anything.
But yeah, I think I got the most of that. If you have a question, Stan, put it in chat in case you need anything, but I think I got that. Yeah, she just explains the gardening stuff to you. Do you do anything with that information, Vosner, or just small talk?
Vosner's very intrigued and asks her about her favorite parts of the garden and other things that she would wish to do in a space like this.
She's pretty proud of this little pond thing that she put together, but she's got like a whole back area garden that she's been working on cultivating. She's not allowed to take anybody back there, but you know, she's pretty proud of it.
Vosner asks, "What are you guys growing back there? Is it?"
Oh,
something-
no, it's nothing like that. It's just that Miliardo wanted the party in this central area, you know, with all the guards around. Can't have anybody slipping off to, you know, steal some shit.
That's quite understandable. There could be characters here with ill intent. Vosner says that sort of absently, not really believing it, but yeah, I guess he'll just continue to talk about the garden and asks her maybe some things that she would like, or he asks her where she's from originally, if she's originally from Mossstone.
She is. She's from the area.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's all I got. Never mind.
Okay. No worries. Does anybody else want to do anything?
I will spend the majority of the evening eavesdropping on people,
Okay, make a...
particularly Titus.
Okay. Make a, I'd say investigation, but I think perception. Make a perception roll. Oh, wow. That fucking roll. Yeah, so here's little bits of information. I'll just cliff note them down. From Titus, you do hear him talking to Miliardo about politics in Daramar being a little bit chaotic, but things being relatively stable, even if there's some tension. He also mentions that seems like the stuff in Kalimsham has cooled off, And hopefully the fight between those kind of warring factions within the Kalimsham area are kind of like coming to some sort of peace agreement. And, just general talk about like restructuring and rebuilding Mossstone from them. You also overhear Bjorn, this big guy here with the blue across his face, talking to Captain Damien about defeating the basically like Ketelonian pirates who were off the coast. This is sort of in line with Miliardo's mission to rid the Firedrink Bay of pirates. They defeated the Warlock pirates, and then the Norse folk basically continued on while Miliardo was gone, and were able to defeat the Ketelonian pirates. And you overhear a little bit of that story. You overhear Leah, Nightbreeze, and Rogar telling Galen what happened to them under the guild, and Galen telling them what happened to him in the sewers. And they're all kind of just chatting about the cultists that they defeated, basically. And you hear Ander and Gorak arguing about some stupid shit over mouthfuls of food. And Big Pete kind of like listening in, like you could see him kind of nodding in agreement when Gorak would make a point, and then kind of shaking his head when Ander would make a point, clearly siding with Gorak on most of the things. And then he kind of sits down and joins them, and they all kind of eat and argue about stuff. And that's mostly what you get with a 19.
Delightful.
At some point, Miliardo kind of gives a toast where he thanks everybody for coming and, offers, more food and refreshments, and does a special shout out to Bear Squad for their work in the investigation, and then a shout out to Captain Damien for basically doing the right thing and freeing him, and shout out to Titus Rosethorn and the Queen for all of their aid, and then acknowledges the new Archdruid of Mossstone, sort of at the same time acknowledging the sad death of Arcanus. And there's kind of like a moment for that, and Tetherman kind of bows his head and acknowledges it. And with that, the night is kind of like wrapping up. You guys can stay around and do like another round of talking to people if you'd like, but other than that, people are starting to like gather and go home.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
Missile and Vosner, got anything?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry, I'm typing some notes here.
No, you're fine.
Vosner's good. He's kind of spent with the party, so.
Yeah. It's a lot of social. Okay, so then I will... so Tim told me that his power went out. I don't know if he's back yet. Taking that as a no. So we're just going to assume that whatever bender he went on with DeMarcus is pretty crazy. And we can revisit what that actually entails at another time.
Tim and I will talk on the phone for 4 hours this week, and we'll let you know what happened next time.
Yeah, detailed account of all hitting up all the bars of Mossstone, of which I've described like 2, but there are a number of them. Some of which
There's
I actually.
one with halfling on roller skates.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. That's just Tim coming up with shit, and now I'm like, that's got to be canon. I was just hoping you guys forgot. All right.
It's in my notebook.
Which one is that? Because it burned down in the fire. This is the key. Solution to everything, just burn it down. All the characters died horrifically. I don't want to roleplay them. Yeah, I'll send you guys back to the barracks. Hi, buddy. He's yelling for pits.
Let Joji DM for a couple minutes.
Joji, tell us what happened. Okay, and then what? Judge, tell us what happens next. Okay. He says you guys all died. That's rough.
Oh my god.
No!
You gotta reroll new What kind of characters do they have to reroll? Tabaxi. You guys are all gonna be Tabaxi now.
Oh my god,
Worst
he's too
DM
cute.
ever.
Tabaxi Warlocks? All of them?
That's so cute, I'm not even mad.
Okay. Well, he says all of you are Tabaxi Warlocks. It's gonna be a weird campaign going forward. Okay, so we're at kind of a weird point because from here we wanted to do sort of a 3-week of downtime moment. At the end of that is sort of a like Marin telling you guys what your mission entails and what they've uncovered, and then after that you guys are basically starting that next major quest.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just go down the line. I wasn't sure how long you guys wanted to play out these scenes. We could do it long form, like you know, each person gets 10 to 15 minutes of RP stuff, or we could do it very short form, and then we can fill in the details later as we go. I'm not entirely sure what you guys are up to, and I've kind of gone back and forth on the best way to do it.
I know that I only have one scene in mind, and it probably won't take longer than 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I was just saying likewise with not too much.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I guess we'll just go down the list. Let's start with Missile.
Okay. Let's see here. Dig it up. So,
I'm just gonna throw us on this scene because
yeah.
we're not actually doing this from the barracks.
So, John, you and I had talked about those dragon parts, if there's any progress there, and then the rest of the 3 weeks would be spent researching what we've discerned from Damon's memory about those magic objects and the schools of magic, and trying to piece together where we could find the artifacts that we still have to find, and what they might be, and I don't know, we could roll history checks for that, or just see what happens.
Yeah, so let's, why don't you roll a history check with advantage?
Okay.
And let me pull up all my notes on that shit.
We could do with advantage, or one of my character's traits adds my proficiency bonus twice. Artificer's lore.
Well, depends on what. So, what's the Artificer's lore say about any object?
Add twice your prof bonus to history checks related to magic items, alchemical objects, or technological devices.
Okay, so the advantage is just because you're doing it for like 2 weeks straight. So let's just say you have both of those things, advantage and the bonus proficiency.
Oh my.
Okay.
Then add 3, yeah.
Yeah, so a 30. Good lord. You know everything that's ever been said. So here's what you learn. You learn that God, I don't know if necessarily want to give you all of the stuff, but I want to give you.
You can type it up and send it later.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Here's what you learn about. You know that they're. Yeah, I want to give you a little something for this.
Yep.
You learn that. So the tricky thing is that the library that you're working with is part ancient books. from the lower level that aren't like new information. They're very old information. But then also Marin's library. And so there is a limited amount of knowledge. But you do learn that the staff that you're looking for up north is this crystal staff that like basically emits snow from the top of it. And it was owned by Alora, this powerful wizard who specialized in evocation magic. And she died, and the staff was lost for a long time. But it was sighted last in the city of Luskan, but was taken when a large dragon attacked the city and basically sacked it of all of its magic items. And so it is unknown where the staff is, but it is known that it was likely taken in this raid of the city a long time ago.
Cool. Gotcha.
You just saved yourself like a whole bunch of mystery solving that you had to do in the town of Luskan. I just want you to know with that 30.
See what books can do, man? All right.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And it would make sense that you'd know it. Okay, so I also want to do a thing for crafting that with the dragon scales, or the dragon stuff. So
Okay.
I want you to roll a, I guess like intelligence, like crafting something.
What would that be?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Arcana?
Yeah, probably Arcana.
I've got the manual. If you want me to look it up, it'll take a minute.
I mean, just roll Arcana with advantage plus your proficiency thing, because you're basically making like another. You're trying to craft a magic item, and so my thought is, if you get within a certain threshold, I will let you make basically anything that thematically makes sense with kind of the magic essence of the dragon. So like a staff or a shield or a sword or whatever you want. And we will determine its like tier based off your roll. So if you make like, if you roll kind of shitty, it'll be an uncommon or something. But if you roll really high, then maybe we'll get you like a very rare, which all kind of makes sense on the D&D loot table.
All right. Well, for full disclosure, I chose Arcana because I'm proficient in it, and it relies on my intelligence bonus, so it's going to be a super high roll here.
Yeah, no, that I expected that.
Well, not super high, but 18.
Oh my god, you rolled 2 7s. Yeah, with an 18... Fuck, that's pretty low.
Oh, no!
I guess you could make a rare item. So if you look up in like the D&D handbook, there's a list of rare magic items, and if you can come up with, you can just select whatever one you want and justify how you made it using dragon parts, then we'll just say that that's what you made with it.
Okay, I'm kind of disappointed now because I talked that up and then 2 7s. Oh well.
Yeah.
And then, so that's cool. That's the dragon parts. That's what I learned from research.
And for the record, this is how I'm gonna kind of handle crafting, I think, going forward, since your character can do that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I kind of did it unfairly, I think, early in the campaign when I let like Dragon Squad have like 5 suits of dragon hide armor because they killed 1 dragon. I'm retconning that a little bit. I'm saying they bought a lot of that. So when it comes to like, if you guys slay like a magical beast that armor could be used for something, especially dragons, I'll just do this every time. So you might get another shot at doing this.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good. And then the last thing would be the level 8. I got a new feat, Elemental Adept for fire. This way, all of my fire attacks, let me read it so that I don't mistake myself. Spells I cast ignore resistance to fire damage, and since most of my attacks are fire-based,
Oh, wow.
I can use fire attacks on fire creatures, which would have been helpful down in the sewers, but oh well.
Yeah.
And when I roll damage for a spell I cast that deals fire damage, I can treat any 1 on a damage die as a 2.
Okay. So that's dope. I'm gonna have to write that down. And we might have to go into your spells and tinker with the numbers so that the rolls reflect that. But yeah, that's super cool. And does it say anything about immunity? Because so there's a difference between immunity and resistance. But that's, I mean, so dogs were immune to fire.
Okay. Well, then maybe it would have been helpful, but I just copied and pasted from D&D Beyond, and it just says that I ignore spells I cast ignore resistance to fire damage.
Yeah, that'll still be useful. There's a lot of things that are resistant to fire that now will take the full damage, so that's good.
All right.
And we'll have to continue to play that in case I forget or anything. So, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Anything else you want to do with Missile on his?
I guess just one last thing. I got an additional slot for my prepared spells. Before we do anything, I can prepare any number of spells, so I'll be one extra spell up.
Yeah.
And the one that I am going to prepare now is Rope Trick, and John and I know what that is, but for the rest of you, with Rope Trick, I can open an entrance to an extra dimensional space up to 60 feet in the air that we can all climb in. Up to 8 medium-sized creatures can climb in and kind of like hide out.
Yeah, like
no
a
magic.
rope comes from it.
Yeah. Like I've imbued a length of rope that I carry in my bag with some fancy engineering and artificer knowledge, and I fling it up, and an entrance opens to some extra dimensional space that we can use to our advantage.
Yeah. So if you guys ever need to climb 60 feet up, you've got a way to do it.
And be safe from magic.
True.
Little pocket dimension.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, let's do DeMarcus next.
Yeah, so as far as where I'm going with level 8 stuff, I'm just doing ability score improvements. So there's
Sure.
not too much to build in there. So I'm just, let's see, after it takes me no less than 2 days to recover from whatever Joe Hoff has taken me through, I will spend this time. So he's basically going to be training a lot, like physical and constitution stuff. I'm doing the ability improvements in strength and constitution. So he's going to be like training a lot, working out a lot. He's also going to be doing a ton of like praying in the Hall of Gods. That's probably going to take up like most of his time. It's a huge priority of his over these next couple weeks. And you guys will be able to tell with DeMarcus that like he does kind of have a sense, like through some conversations, but nothing really deep, more just like his general demeanor and observing him, that he's definitely relieved after handling this immediate threat of the Cult of Cyric, and he is a little bit more like humane and a touch more like he used to be. But there's also this other side of him that's a total duality to that. Like he's kind of conflicted and he's bothered and he seems very kind of like meditative and sort of like self-absorbed in the sense that he's reflecting on things and he's doing a lot of like active thinking. Like sometimes when you talk to him, he's either going to be like kind of friendly and human, but other times when you talk to him, he'll kind of like he'll just be in his head and you can tell that he's thinking about a lot of things and he's just not really present in the conversation. He's also going to be helping Izzy with Ilmater's Shrine and reconstructing that. He's going to spend a little bit of time in the library doing some reading, and he's going to read some theology books, which kind of goes along with his prayers and his kind of contemplation stuff right now. And that's really all he's going to be up to.
Okay. Just like Paladin and real hard.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
he's not really trying to like leave the guild too much. He just doesn't want to risk being found out at this point. So he's kind of like really just holed up in the guild working on himself, basically.
Oh shit. Did you already improve your abilities, your stats?
No.
Oh, wait, you had a 17 and a 15 for strength and constitution?
Yeah, I know but that was like imported. I didn't do any of that stuff.
Alright, fair enough. I'm just saying, like, then that's actually pretty amazing to get a +1 to each one of those things would launch you
Yep.
to...
Yeah, that's why I picked each one.
Yeah. I was like sitting here like, oh, I hope you're not like putting both of them to odd, because then you really won't get anything out of the level. But anyways, that's amazing. Okay, cool. Okay. So, yeah, from my end of that, like, Dorn trains you, and works with you. You participate with, like, the paladin squad doing maneuvers on mounts and stuff. So, like, there's still, like, the training aspect of the guild, and so they're there for you if you need them with that.
Yeah. DeMarcus would be doing that. He's not. I mean, a lot of times he is kind of trying to be by himself and do his own thing, but he would definitely be training with the Paladins.
Got it. Okay. Let's do Isolde next.
Yeah, so I assume that she spoke to Tyven or sent messages to him in these early days and figured out what needed to be done in terms of rebuilding the shrine or helping to repair stuff in Old Town.
Yeah, he needs help, so he's definitely gonna use you for that.
Yeah, so she recruits DeMarcus to go and help with that. And there are a couple things she wanted to say to DeMarcus during that time, like 2 minutes.
Okay.
If you're cool with that, Matt.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. So, I figure we're just, I don't know, rebuilding stuff and engaging in pretty normal, pleasant conversation.
Mhm.
And she'll say, I was as surprised as you were to hear that Terran wasn't looking to go home. I kind of figured after everything that happened, he would want to see his family.
Yeah, I admit it was surprising, but not entirely. I meant what I said. It's everything he's been through. It's hard to imagine yourself just walking back and being welcomed like you were. You're not really the same anymore, and sometimes even looking at home isn't the same anymore, and you just don't feel like you fit.
If things were different and Daramar was not dangerous for you, would you have gone home during this time?
I don't know. It's hard to answer. Normally, what I do and where I go is based on the orders that I get. Whenever I'm back in Daramar, it's normally for some mission, and when I'm back there, I do spend time with home and family. But after 2 decades or more of being a soldier and training and being out in the world and being in the abyss sometimes and out fighting and doing the Queen's work at other times, when I go back home, it's never been the same since I was a young boy.
So you are used to missing them, I guess. Or maybe not so much anymore.
No, I miss Daramar. I miss my family, but it's hard for me to tell the difference between missing it like when I was a child and wanting it to be that way again and wanting myself to be that way again and having a kind of sense of happy memories about that and missing it like the man that I am right now, which is a different thing.
That's fair.
I like to go back every now and then, and I think the main thing it bother me that everyone in Daramar thinks that I'm a fugitive now. That's the worst part. That I can't just go back if I wanted to, and that everyone there has an idea of me that isn't true and that's dishonorable, when I've only ever tried to bring honor and do the right thing to everything and everyone that I care about. So in that sense, home for me is very far away.
I could understand that. It is the same for me. My family does not understand why I left, but it is not so much that my name is in dishonor as far as I know, but that the reason that I told them I was leaving is not the truth, and I would like to correct that at some point. Maybe when we go north.
Everything that we've done that needs some kind of atonement like that is corrected at some point. So I think you'll have your chance to do it, and when the chance arrives, you should take it.
I think so too. And that's all I wanted to chit-chat about.
Cool.
They can fade back into normal conversation.
Is Azolda at any point during this? Well, I guess I shouldn't ask because Tim's not here right now. But I was asking. I was wondering if anybody's gonna like fill in Johoff. Like, hey, in a few weeks we're gonna go up north and ask him if he's coming.
Yes.
Or maybe you just wait until the end, like right before you leave, and ask him.
No, I was planning on talking to him a couple times during that 3 weeks, actually.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if,
We
Yeah,
can
we
just
can't
start
really do
the
that 'cause
next
Tim's
session
here.
retconning it and putting that in there. Is there anything else Isolde wants to do for her training?
Yes. So she is going to take the feat Warcaster, and she will be purchasing a +1 Vicious Hand Axe from
Whoa.
the guild store.
Damn. So,
Yep.
vicious and +1, that's pretty expensive.
Like 135.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll do weapon training with Chandri. Yeah, and figure out how to cast spells as reactions.
Sure. Yeah, so, she has you train with her, but also, with, like, I'm trying to think who else would be a warcaster. Maybe just her. Yeah, I think Chandri would be a warcaster. So yeah, she shows you the techniques, and you guys train together, and you also learn whatever it is you learn at level 8 in terms of more spells and that kind of stuff, and abilities.
Cool.
And yeah. Okay, do we want to move on from Isolde, or do you have more?
Oh, I already muted. I'm done.
Okay, cool. So I'm trying to save Vosner and Terran for last. So Damon, what's Damon up to?
Is this for like the entire?
For the 3 weeks, and if you don't know, that's fine. We can get back to it for and start it up next week. We're getting close to the end, so I don't want to like force people to rush.
Yeah, I would say that Damon is gonna have some like he would definitely like seek out Master Marin to try and have some significant conversations about Multanus and what like Damon should be doing going forward. And depending on how that conversation goes would probably affect the
Okay.
research he would be trying to do and like the skills he would try and focus on building up over that time period.
Perfect. Okay, so let's just assume that we'll open with that next session, and so it'll give me some time to think about it, and you can send me questions ahead of time if you want, so I can think about it. And then we will get to see and hear about what Johoff did, and then and we can finish the Vosner and Terran bit, but we can start that one first before we do that. Does that all sound good?
That sounds great.
Okay, so Vosner and Terran, you guys have decided that Vosner wants to help Terran find this dragon. Does Vosner want to do anything else before they go?
Yeah, hold on a sec.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so I guess as we're leaving or while we are going, Vosner's just gonna prepare himself for combat prowess and take the Sentinel feat.
Oh.
So I guess he can do that as we're hanging out with the dragon, or like while we're on a road.
Yeah, so here's what I'll say. I think we'll say Vosner, given all of those ties to Arcanus and the Foresight and, you know, Tetherman being available and now much more powerful, we'll just make the assumption that Vosner is able to complete his sort of level 8 training very quickly, perhaps faster than everybody else, and gets it kind of like in the 2 or 3 days leading up to you guys leaving on your mission. And so basically Vosner starts their little quest off already at level 8. And with that comes the ability to shapeshift into a flying thing, which is pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So when Vosner shapeshifts into a flying thing, what is he shifting into? Do you have that planned? Or, I mean, you can think about it more if you want. But
I'm not exactly sure. I was looking through some of the things, but I haven't decided yet.
Sure.
Probably an owl of some sort, or a CR2 version of an owl or something. I don't know.
okay, yeah, we'll have to look into it. There is a problem with beasts just being kind of few and far between in like the standard monster manual. There aren't that many flying things to pick from, so we'll have to look through it. I know there's like a CR2 flying like pterodactyl type thing that's pretty badass, but yeah, it's pretty limited early on. So we'll look up more, Shed, and if you've got ideas for things that you want to do, maybe we'll homebrew it so that you have access to those abilities, some degree of them. Okay, so yeah. How are you guys getting to this place? Did you guys settle on a method? Maybe Taryn can speak to this.
I don't know if we settled on a method. If it's 2 days past Portier, how long would it be to take horses down to Portier?
Oh, you get to Portier in like a day of riding horses.
So we could probably get to where we're dropped off in like 3 days.
Yeah, that sounds right, if you want to go on horseback. Or it'd be fast. It'd probably take like a day and a half by boat, or a day or so from Gunderlin by boat if you went that route.
Taryn would be cool with whatever Vosner, like, what would Vosner think? Like, maybe rent a boat if that's not too expensive.
Vosner wouldn't mind renting a boat. We would just have to ask our companions for access to our little treasury thing we got going on.
So just so you know, your friendship with Miliardo and your relationship to the Norse folk on Gunderlin would probably guarantee that you would get a free ride anywhere you need to go in Firedrake Bay.
Yeah, then I guess we just bum ride from Boston to keep it simple.
Okay. Yeah, you don't want to use that cool portal I built? No, that's fine. It's totally cool. No, yeah, no, that makes more sense. I mean, portals are great.
I don't know, that might be like weird, be like, hey, Viking friends, we're gonna go see a dragon boat. I don't know, it just seems like explaining a lot.
That's fair. Yeah, so Miliardo basically like charters a small boat for you to take you wherever you want, and they will kind of like await your order. Kind of like, it's a small ship, so it's not like super well defended or anything, but it's quick. So
we have them drop us off where like the coral, like exciting coral is most intense, just cross import here.
yeah, you're a little bit robot-y. I don't know if it's just like you're loading a lot of stuff, but you're cutting out a little bit at the end. But I've heard that. I heard what you said. Yeah, they can find a place where the coral is. They can take you there, and they can. Yeah, so let me just slip into that then. So Vosner and Taryn, you're on this small ship that's being run by these Leventhorpe sailors who are taking you out into Firedrake Bay, and they're sticking mostly to the coastline because they know you guys are looking for something along the coast, and for that reason it's mostly safe waters. Most of the pirate threats have been removed from Firedrake Bay at this point, and you can tell that the sailors are kind of sailing at ease, knowing that it's a fairly safe, these are safe waters now. And you eventually come across an area that has this bright coral and kind of lush underwater life. Lots of fish living there, and you kind of take this to be the sign that this is the place, and you stop the boat and have them take you to shore, and you kind of like wave them off and they leave, and it's just Taryn and Vosner kind of standing on a beach, and this is the beach that's starting to look more and more familiar, the place that you guys had once been before when you had walked to Port Tier so long ago. And you're on the beach. Do you say anything, or do you want me to just keep moving along?
Like, to the sailors?
No, to each other. I just don't want to like say that your whole journey is as non-conversational.
Vosner turns to Taryn and just asks, so where do we go from here? Are there any sort of things other than a really life-filled bay, or is there something else we have to do?
Coastal caves. They're supposed to make their lairs in coastal caves, like large, beautiful caves along the coast. So we should look for those.
Okay. Why doesn't Vosner make me a survival check with advantage? Yeah, okay. It takes like the better part of a day, but then eventually you find walking along the beach within a decent mile radius, and there's a lot of coral, so this is a fairly large area. You get, it's miles and miles of this kind of lush beach and water life. But yeah, you eventually find something matching your description, and you guys start like walking into this cave, and it's really deep. Like, it goes so far into the earth that you start to fear like you're going into another plane of existence. Like, this is kind of spooky. But you press on. Taryn, you feel like sure that this is the place. Like, in your bones you can feel it. There's this kind of like essence of dragon magic in the air that you can just tell. And as you get down, you finally enter into a ginormous cavern with a large colorful bridge in front of it, and at the end of it is a very large throne decorated in gorgeous coral, and at the top of it sits a small dwarf that you recognize to be Rusty. All around him is like treasure and magic items and gemstones, and it's all kind of like infused into the coral, and there's like fish kind of swimming up near it. And yeah, this is what you see.
Wow, this is much better than Shakuba's place. This is gorgeous.
I'm just taking off.
What's that?
Does he like acknowledge us?
Yeah, you can tell he's just sitting up there kind of expectantly.
Karen is kind of like frozen for a second, and then slowly starts to approach.
I follow next to him with a reverence, but also excitement to see a friend, an older friend, or an old friend. But now that I know he's a dragon, it's sort of like it's a little odd.
Yeah. He just sits and waits for you guys to move.
Let's race. Go.
And as you get up to about that part, he stands up from this coral throne and he says, "Welcome. What brings you to my lair?"
I look over at Taryn.
Taryn kind of like does like a little bit of a bow, and then says, "Thank you. I was hoping to learn from someone as great as yourself."
He sort of hesitates and then he kind of like walks off of his throne and he sort of looks at you like he's not entirely sure what you mean, and he says, "What is it that you've come to learn?"
The blood dragons runs through my veins and gives me power, and I have used this power to do good in Mosstone and Firedrake Bay, and I was hoping that you could teach me more about my kind and how to use my power to help people more.
He pauses for a minute and he says, "Did you ever find out what's in the bottom of that pyramid?"
And Vosner speaks up and he says, well, not exactly all the way at the bottom, but we've gone to a deeper level where there's large portals that lead to places all over the world. But I can only imagine that there might be something deeper. Maybe something connected to the Shadowfell.
Make
But,
an insight roll on Vosner.
On Vosner?
Yeah, well, make one as Vosner. When you mentioned the Shadowfell, you saw a reaction from his face. And he says, "I see. Very well. I can teach you what I know, but it will take time."
We have time.
We just hope to gain knowledge and strength to continue on. Anything you know would be helpful, and we would be of great debt.
Indeed. And what do you seek, Druid of the Moon?
Well, I suppose at this point, maybe knowledge to aid my friends. Anything that would help me understand that other plane. Why it keeps reaching out to me. Maybe I can tell you about a vision that I had to get your impression. And maybe something to help me prepare if I ever have to go there.
Yes. Well then, let us begin. And he slowly, at first, like, basically goes invisible. Like, you just watch him fade in front of your eyes. And then he appears in front of you like he's been there the whole time, as though that were an illusion. And he looks at you with his giant eyes, sort of kind of acknowledging that now it is time to train. And that is where we will end this session. And we can pick up there next time after Terran's learned a bunch of shit.
That was
Damn.
awesome.
Super cool.
And we'll cover Damon's conversations with Marin, and then we'll do Joe Hoff's bit once Tim has power again. Hopefully it's back by a week from now. And then we can start, doing the montage for you guys gearing up to go up north, like buying parkas and
Oh, man.
like Isolde teaching you guys how to snowball fight, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
Classic.
Skills you're gonna need
We
once
need
you're
a-
up there.
We need a team of dogs to pull the sled.
Obviously.
I think
You want to
Vosner can
build-
like summon creatures now.
Yeah, I can summon woodland animals or elementals.
There
you go.
Summon a whole bunch of elementals to pull it.
Let's get 2,000 snow hares to pull our sled.
Yes.
You're gonna track wolves for 1,000 miles.
See our two snow bunnies to bring us across the tundra.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, you guys got any questions, thoughts, whatever before we go?
Oh.
Can I wild shape into a dragon now?
Dragons are not beasts, so that's a negatory. I think a pseudo dragon is technically a beast.
Wormling is only a CR2 monsters.
Yeah, Wormling is technically a dragon, I think so.
There you go. I can turn into a verm.
Yeah.
Little worm.
Okay, I think that's where I'll end
Yeah,
the stream
sorry,
at least.
John. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can end the stream.